Welcome back to Mile High Sports Today and the Media Center here, live from New Orleans, the site of Super Bowl 59. Shawn, Drotar, Aniello, Piro with you, and the man on our right needs very little introduction, but we're going to do so anyway for Broncos fans. Number 87, Ed McCaffrey, joins us. Ed, thanks so much. You have a busy schedule. Obviously, you have that morning show at Sirius XM, and took a little time wrapping that up. I guess sit down with us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, I'm having a blast. I wish my kids' teams were in it, or if not, the Broncos were in it, but they're not. But it's still like a reunion for me. I'm running into players that I played with, friends of my kids who are now in the league, coaches that coached me or that we played against. And so it's kind of fun. It's like a little bit of a reunion. I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can.
Well, the Broncos at least closer this year, getting back in the playoffs after that long drought without it, the longest playoff-less stretch as an NFL franchise. So it kind of feels like they're through the other side there. But for the Broncos, maybe start at one of the positions that, of course, you would know the best. The Broncos are trying to get a little bit deeper at wide receiver. Obviously, when you look at the tight end spot, running back spot, Sean Payton's talked about those wide receivers as well. One of the things that we were talking about before you came on was thinking when you were winning Super Bowls, the Broncos and Rod Smith were not only capable blockers, that's one skill, but willing blockers.
Yeah.
And with teams that can run the ball, like we look at the Super Bowl here with these two teams that are power run game type of teams, even though you think of the Chiefs as being a high flying offense, they're not that kind of team anymore. That's a skill set that we're starting to see at times come back a little bit to the NFL.
Yeah, unless you have a trained eye, sometimes it's hard to see, right? Because there's a lot of receivers that are good at making it look like they just barely didn't make that block. You know what I mean? Like, I ran, but I just didn't quite get there. And the average fan, it looks like they tried. No, they didn't. They didn't get there because they didn't want to get there. And it's my opinion that if you want to have a great run game, you have to have receivers that are willing to block. And the reason is everybody else has to block. That's their job. There's a lot of unwilling receivers out there. Now, some of them really get after it, and I appreciate the ones that do. Rod Smith and I, we cut our teeth blocking. We used to have side bets who could have the most decleaters in the game. We were backups, and the only way the coach would even notice us is if some guy on the defense went flying to the ground. So we literally would have like little $5 and $10 side bets on who could have the most decleaters, and we would have 2 or 3 a game. Not like good blocks, knocking some guy on his tail feathers, right? I mean, that was our goal, and it was so fun. I had so much fun that first year in Denver, just getting after it. And it was fun to have a guy like Rod Smith who you're rooting for. You're competing for the same position. We were competing for the same spot on the team, yet we were rooting for each other. And that's the greatest experience you can have in sports, competing with someone that you're also rooting for. But we did it by really buying into blocking in the run game, and it's something that Coach Shanahan required. Matter of fact, Shannon Sharp was putting up big numbers as a receiver, a tight end, but making a lot of catches. And I remember, and this story is well known, Coach Shanahan had to call him in. And I think Shannon's thinking he's getting a pat on the back. He might have had 7 catches in the game, thinking he played pretty well. And Coach Shanahan's like, hey, look, I need you to buy into blocking in the run game, or I'm going to have to, think about trading you. And this is Shannon Sharp, right? And so, but, to Shannon's credit, guess what he did? Did he complain or bitch and moan about it? No, he said, okay. I thought I was going to get a pat on the back, but if that's what you need, that's what I'm going to do. We don't win 2 Super Bowls without players buying in to that mentality. That's why we won. And when you got a line like we had and a running back like Terrell Davis, guess what? We're going to win a lot of games. But a 4-yard run and a tackle by a safety is not the same as a 60-yard touchdown because Shannon got his block, because Rod and I dug out a safety. It doesn't happen without that kind of commitment. And so I see a lot of teams have success, put up big numbers. I see receivers that don't quite make the block, and now, it's 2nd and 10. They're thinking, great, we're going to throw the ball now. I'll get another catch. They're not concerned about it. But I'm telling you, to be a great team, your receivers have to buy in. Your tight ends there's a lot of tight ends that can't block in the league. Your tight ends have to buy in. And so I was lucky to be on those types of teams.
Well, it's obviously not easy to win 1 championship, let alone 2 in a row. And obviously the Kansas City Chiefs now going for their 3-peat. But you talk about the fabric of that kind of championship DNA that you guys had back there. Also, as a quick side note, how crazy is that? I was looking this up. You guys were double-digit underdogs in that Super Bowl against Green
points.
Bay, which is insane to think about. Obviously, Green Bay in their heyday, they were trying to go back-to-back at that point as well with the young Brett Favre and all that kind of stuff. But what was it like from you for going from that 97 championship season, going to that 98 championship season, and kind of keeping that fabric of that team together to go back-to-back?
Oh, well, we're talking about the Chiefs potentially three-peating, first time in NFL history. We had an opportunity to three-peat, but the game we lost was before we won. We lost to Jacksonville.
Right.
We were 14-2. We had the best team in the league, and nobody can convince me we didn't have the best team in the league in 96, 97, right? We should have won Super Bowl 31. We never got there because we had one bad game. We slipped up, and we got beat at home in our first playoff game of the division round by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it haunts me to this day. But our opportunity to three-peat was that year. And then John ended up retiring after Super Bowl 33, and it changed the direction of the team. But we had that opportunity. We had the people in place. The thing that impressed me so much about our team after that loss was that when we went in the next day, and, that's the day, clean out your locker, window or aisle, go home, leave. The season's over. I was in the weight room, and Gary Kubiak was standing next to me. And he said, "Hey, Eddie, you know how we're going to be great." And I'm still in shock. I don't know. How are we going to be great? And he's like, "Look at this weight room. We had 3/4 of our team getting their lift in. Right? Most guys are gone. You're
putting stuff in duffel bags.
Gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he brought it to my attention. I looked around. I'm like, you're right. 3/4 of our team is getting their lift in on a day when they don't have to lift. There's no requirement to lift. Go home." And it was almost like nobody expected to lose. No one had plans to leave. And we were already, the day after that loss, working towards next season. And it's having a team made up of guys like that allows you to have a chance, at least, to have success. And that's what we had, and that's why we won the next 2 years. But going into the Super Bowl 32 against the Green Bay Packers, you mentioned it, we're two touchdown underdogs. The most impressive thing was that Shannon Sharp didn't talk for 2 weeks or talk any smack and give him any bulletin board material. I don't know how he got through the 2 weeks, but we 100% believed we were going to win the game. I mean, we did not lack confidence. We didn't give them anything to talk about, but we felt we were the best team the year before. And I know the Packers were in New Orleans, matter of fact, right? And beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 31. We thought that should have been our game. So when we go into this game, 14-point underdogs, we're still thinking we should have won last year. So not only do we think we can win this year, we think we're going to win this year. And I'm glad we proved everybody wrong, because people forgot real quickly that we were 14-2. They forgot real quickly that we had John Elway at quarterback. They forgot real quickly that we had a 2,000-yard rusher and 3,000-yard receivers, right? And that we had a hell of a defense with Steve Atwater and guys like that on the other side of the ball. So it's funny how people can forget those things, but we didn't, and that's what counted.
When you look at that you're talking about that sort of team culture, right? And one of the things that's permeated discussions this week with the Chiefs going for 3 in a row, and quite frankly, with the Eagles coming back after only 2 years away. Jalen Hurts referred to the loss to the Chiefs a couple of years ago. The Chiefs had to come back in the fourth as the kind of thing that set a fire in him that has been burning ever sort of since. And the idea, when you see a changeover with the Broncos, they've obviously turned over so much of the roster under Sean Payton, and you have to do that. But now the idea is, we're bringing in a group of people that all pull on the same end of the rope. Are you seeing sort of the same mindset? You have to build that culture and then plug in people that buy into it, not necessarily the best athletes, but the people who understand what the objectives are and are willing to work towards it.
No doubt about it. And I think, look, it starts with the owner. The Walton Penner Group decided we're going to invest in this football team. We're going to make the decisions we have to make to allow us to have a successful football team. It always starts with the owner. You have to have a great GM. I think we've done a good job in the front office. You have to get the right coach, and then you have to get your quarterback. If you don't have ownership, GM, coach, and quarterback lined up properly, you don't have much of a chance. And so scoring big with Bo Nix was huge for this organization. Sean Payton really believes in him. He knows how to build an offense around his skill set, and it allowed us to have some success to go with a phenomenal defense and a great job of coaching on that side of the ball. But you have to have the players that buy in. To your point regarding skill, 100%. We're talking. There's a lot of receivers that put up big numbers that in crucial situations don't dig out of safety and make that block, and that are more care more about their stats than they do about the team winning. A.J. Brown is a guy, right, that he could be a 10-catch, 2-touchdown guy, right? He knows that. He's been a Pro Bowler, and he's had to bite his tongue and be patient and still work hard in the run game and wait for his opportunity. They have I think the Eagles have the least pass attempts in the league, right? But they have a great run game and a 2,000-yard rusher. But he's been willing to work hard in the run game, and he's been biting his tongue, even though he's reading the book on the sideline, and you can visibly see his frustration. He's buying into that team concept. And so that's just a guy that's playing this week. But The guys on the Broncos have done the same. So there's a lot of hope there. Look, they hadn't made a playoff game since 2015. I called the game on the radio in Super Bowl 50, and they hadn't been back since then, and that seems
Crazy.
like an eternity ago.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see, they beat the Chiefs. I went and tailgated out there with the fans in that game, and I know the Chiefs didn't play all their starters, so it was kind of cool to beat the team that's been in 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls and owned our division at the end of the year to get to the playoffs. I think that allows the guys that will return to believe in themselves and to have hope. Now, the average NFL roster has about somewhere between a 50 and 75% turnover rate, right? So that's every year in every team. So you're never done. Like these GMs and scouts, every day they're looking for talent. Every Tuesday and Friday during the season, they bring in guys to try out for the team. There's a lot, more guys on the practice squad now. But you have to put a whole team together of those guys, and it's not enough to just have them be your starters. That certainly helps. You got to have depth. On the D line, you're rotating guys in and out. An offensive lineman goes down, a receiver's hurt for a game or two. You got to have people step up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think to Shawn's point, you're seeing the foundation being laid. Obviously, with Russell Wilson a couple years ago, get over that, bring in Bo Nix. I mean, their win total this year is 5.5. They essentially double that up with 10 wins and get back to the playoffs. So the Broncos are certainly on the right path. I got to ask you, though, tell me a little bit about these McCaffrey protein bites. I mean, who doesn't want some chocolate chip cookie dough?
I know.
And who doesn't want some birthday cake?
Yeah, they brought these over. You're speaking my language here.
I mean,
I can eat healthy without feeling like I'm eating healthy. Okay.
100 calories a serving. I mean, this is awesome.
Well,
man.
that was the goal. Look, I create products, for purposes of full disclosure, that I want to eat. Right. So
Fair.
I wanted a healthy snack that tasted great. And it's hard to find a healthy snack that tastes great. Most of them taste like cardboard or the sole of your shoe. And you want to eat healthy, right? You don't want to go to candy bars and eat junk food, but you can't stomach the healthy food. So these taste great. That's why we have chocolate fudge, chocolate chip cookie dough, and birthday cake.
Man.
So you want to eat something that tastes like a birthday cake, but you don't want to look like you eat birthday cake every day.
Right.
In between lunch and dinner, right? So these are, they're incredibly healthy. They're plant-based protein. A lot of people don't get enough protein. So they have protein in them to keep you fueled throughout the day and help you recover if you work out. They are gluten-free, non-GMO, very low calorie, and they're digestible. Like if you're doing your show, you can't throw down a cheesesteak in the middle of the break, right? You don't want to feel bloated or be chewing on stuff and slobbering all over the place. So you can eat healthy. Hopefully it'll help you to live longer, healthier if you're an older guy like myself, and feel good, but also taste something that tastes great. And that's the hardest part about it. We went through like 50 iterations, and it was dry. It tasted medicine-y. We couldn't get the right flavor. And finally, we found a manufacturer that helped us create, in my opinion, the best tasting healthy snack that you will ever find anywhere. And I feel the same way. We have the mustard and horseradish sauces. They've been selling for over 25 years, not just because of me. There's a lot of kids that forget that I played. It's like Christian's dad or Luke's dad, and some know me as the mustard guy because the mustard's in the refrigerator, right? And so I didn't want to come out with a product that was a collectible because the picture's on the back, or that was a one-year one-hit wonder. I wanted to come out with something that has staying power that other people like myself would like. Healthy food that tastes great.
I'm not saying it just because you're here, but the horseradish mustard. I've always been a fan because it's hard to get horseradish mustard. It's delicious.
It is.
And it's good. But what I've also seen the evolution of that, of course, now it's McCaffrey family. It's keeping it all together. You have everybody in there. It's the whole team now.
I've fallen in love with this business and with developing new products, especially food products. I retired from coaching a couple of years ago, and I kind of decided to put a lot of time and energy into my food products business. We are launching a couple of new mustards. We're coming out with a sriracha that we're bringing back. We're going to have a smoky horseradish. And as I learned the business more and more with my good friend Ty, who's my business partner that's been running the business for 25 years, I started getting the itch to come out with other products. So this is the first launch. We did have an Ed's End Zone O's way back in the day. We did have Eddie Mac and Cheese back in the day.
You can't miss that marketing.
But this is the first one that I personally put a lot of time and effort into developing after the mustard line that we started in 1998. And it's McCaffrey brands. There's going to be other products that we launch in the next couple of years that I'm really excited about. But right now it's about protein bites. And we want to continue to come out with, in our condiment line, flavors that help good food taste better. And with our, health food products line, delicious tasting food that is healthy for you. Because again,
awesome.
I'm making them for myself. I want healthy foods that I'm going to eat that'll make me feel good about snacking in the middle of the day. So that's why we came out with them so far. The response has been pretty good. People seem to like them. I'm going to leave a couple packs with you guys.
Absolutely.
You can enjoy them during the show. You can get them on at McCaffreyBrands.com. So we're online now. We wanted to launch before the Super Bowl. So McCaffreyBrands.com, but we have Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
It's going to put them on their shelves. Shields, Kroger, which is King Supers, and
King
City
Supers,
Markets in Colorado. So they have all tasted them. They love them. And they want to put them on their shelves. So soon you'll be able to just go to your local grocery store and pick them up.
Awesome.
But for now, McCaffreyBrands.com.
Your guesses on the game. Obviously, we're watching teams that have played against each other a couple times. No one's ever won 3 in a row. There's a reason for that. It's hard to do. The salary cap makes it difficult. She talked about roster management. You know, a couple pieces fall off the wagon every year. When guys do well, they get paid. Sometimes they go somewhere else. What's your sense on this?
This is going to be a hard-fought football game. These are my keys to the game. For Kansas City, I think they're going to have to establish a little bit of a run and be a little bit committed to the run. This Vic Fangio defense rushes 4, drops 7. They do an incredible job of disguising all their coverage. Now, Mahomes is smart. You know, they can't tell and lean early. He might change his cadence and try to identify what they're doing. But when you drop 7, it's hard to pass into that. And they're really quick to the ball. They'll give you the underneath stuff. They call that the kill zone. They'll give you a 4 or 5 yard catch, and they're going to pop you. And so that means that Kansas City would have to put together 10, 12 play drives to move the ball down the field because they're going to try to limit the explosives. But if Kansas City can run the ball a little bit effectively early, it might cause a safety to inch up a little bit to stop the run. And that's where I think they're going to take a couple of shots to their speed burners. They're going to either hit Xavier Worthy or Hollywood Brown. They're going to take a couple shots on a post route, hold the safety, try to hit something deep. But I think to do that and to get Philly out of that quarters look, it just rotates into 6 and 2 and 1 and brackets people and 3, you name it. They can rotate in anything. To do that, they're going to have to run the ball a little bit. I think the opposite is true for Philly's offense. They know they're going to run the ball. Coach Spags is going to have some slants and blitzes to stop the run, some twists. He's going to throw some different stuff in there, and that's going to give Philly an opportunity to hit a play-action pass down the field. So I think Kansas City has to establish the run. Everybody knows Philly can run, so they're going to have to take some shots. If they hit 1 or 2 big chunk plays in the beginning of the game, that's going to change the whole dynamic for Philly. And then another thing, it just me personally, you got to have a plan for Kelsey. I know it's great to bend but don't break and to give the underneath stuff. But how many times have we seen him, chip and end, fake pass protection, and just leak out for a 2-yard catch, and he falls for 8, and he has 10 catches and 2 touchdowns on the game? Look, it's hard to guard a man-to-man, but in my opinion, you got to stop Mahomes. You got to get pressure with 4 without blitzing too many people, and you got to stop Kelsey. You just do. He's that good. He's about to set a record, break Jerry Rice's record for catches in the playoffs. That's like an almost untouchable record, right? And some of his catches just look so easy. The teams that don't have a good plan for him are going to get beat, in my opinion.
That's one of the reasons they've won 17 consecutive 1-score games. When they get close and tight, they go to the security blanket. That ends up being Kelsey. All of our content here brought to you by our friends at Hooters. Remember, watch the Ultimate Game Day there on February 9th. You could win a one-of-a-kind custom-engraved Hooters Colorado Solo Stove. If you're tailgating at home, unbeatable takeout deals as well. Big game party packs, $4 off. Wings, $6 off. 50 wings. You can get into Hooters for all of the football action. But check out that. Eat a little bit healthy as well. Grab yourself some protein bites. McCaffrey.brands.com. Also check it out. A local provider should be all around by in only a few weeks. Great talking football with you. Great talking with the Denver Broncos legend. Enjoy the weekend. Congratulations on everything. It's great to see the whole family of surrounding football and get to do so many great things. Thanks for the time.
Cool. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.